Welcome to Think Money with Benny. Here on the channel, we talk about dividend growth and investing and how to build passive income in the stock market. The past couple of weeks have been absolutely crazy. We all know what's going on with the C-19 situation. We have this outbreak that's disrupting our daily lives, the economy, and honestly, disrupting common sense. People are panicking. They're liquidating their investment accounts, 401ks, fighting over toilet paper. Yes, people are fighting over TP.
What? That's known as stupid. Stupid!
I mean, it's just insane what's going on in the media right now. However, there is a real problem happening. People are getting sick. The situation in Europe and China, it's a serious issue. Events like these just don't happen that often. Similar events like Y2K in the year 2000, I still remember as a child. People were talking about the world ending. Shortly after, in 2001, 9/11 happened, and that was a massive blow to New York City. Everyone was scared with so much uncertainty in the following months and even years. We didn't know what was going to happen next. 2008 with the Great Recession, banks collapsing, everyone losing their jobs, people couldn't afford to pay for their homes. Those were also scary times. And now in 2020, we're facing a global pandemic, causing havoc everywhere, shutting down social events, sports, cities, countries, everything is getting shut down. And as of making this video, it feels like New York City is about to go under quarantine at any minute now. Investors are also wondering if the stock market will get shut down, but it appears that it will not. But who knows, right? Anything can happen.
We absolutely believe in keeping the markets open, okay? Americans need to know they have access to their money. After September 11th, the only reason why the markets were closed was because the technology was disrupted. I've been on the phone with the major banks, with the New York Stock Exchange. Everybody wants to keep it open. We may get to a point where we shorten the hours if that's something they need to do, but Americans should know that we are going to do everything to make sure that they have access to their money at their banks, to the money in their 401ks, and to the money in stocks. So I want to just be very clear, we intend to keep the markets open.
It's times like these where you just have to take a step back and take control of the things you can control instead of worrying about the things you can't. Being that this is a financial channel, I'm going to talk about what I'm doing to put myself in a better financial situation when it comes to investing. In this video, I'll be explaining why I left M1 Finance as well as Robinhood and why I'm switching over to Fidelity. I'll also take you through the transferring process, mistakes to avoid, and things to keep in mind. I'll also share my thoughts on Fidelity so far. Let's start from the beginning. January 2019. During this time, I was looking to avoid trading fees, and my choices were Robinhood and M1 Finance. As a new investor, I began learning how to buy and sell stocks with Robinhood. It's the perfect platform to learn on because it's user-friendly. Later in April, I figured out which investing strategy worked for me, and that's dividend growth investing. I began my portfolio with M1 Finance because, in my opinion, M1's interface caters to long-term dividend investors a lot better. Robinhood made it easy to get in and out of stocks, so I decided M1's finances setup would help me stay disciplined. If you're familiar with M1, you know one of its disadvantages is that you're limited to a trading window, which means you can't place order limits and can't buy shares at the prices you want. Being that the market just kept going up and up all of 2019, this didn't really bother me. But with the recent downturn and crazy swings in the market lately, I just realized how valuable and important it is to be able to set up limit orders. Another big concern is the dependability and amount of trust you can place on these smaller brokerages. With the big influx of volume and activity in the markets recently, both Robinhood and M1 have been experiencing technical difficulties. This had to be the last straw for me. I literally watched my friend's Robinhood portfolio get crushed as he couldn't exit his positions in the options market. I decided that it was time to move my assets over to Fidelity. I wanted to take comfort placing my assets in a well-trusted and proven brokerage that's been around since 1946. That's 74 years. Robinhood and M1 didn't even exist during the Great Recession. That is why they are being tested with this market downturn. And Robinhood has already failed miserably. Also, I know there are a few big YouTubers out there that still promote and stand by Robinhood and M1, even with the recent shenanigans. But don't be fooled, those YouTubers might be affiliated with these smaller brokerages one way or another. Me, on the other hand, I'm just a small channel sharing my honest opinion and thoughts. By the way, if you're enjoying the content, please make sure you subscribe by clicking that red subscribe button down below. I really believe there's no reason to invest in Robinhood or M1 when you have superior brokerages out there with proven track records that also charge zero fees for trading and investing. So the first step to making the switch was doing research on Fidelity. I read a few articles, I saw some videos, I also went on YouTube and searched this exact title. Although I was surprised not to find many videos with a detailed explanation on how to move to Fidelity. That's why I decided to make this video, hoping that it would help someone else. That night, I picked up the phone and called Fidelity. I was immediately impressed with their customer service. It's nice to know I can call and speak to someone regarding my account with questions or concerns. That's another big negative on Robinhood and M1. If you need any type of customer service, you have to write them an email and wait for a reply. If you're a new investor with a small amount of capital, I guess it's not really important. But one day your account will grow in value and you'll want to speak to someone whenever you have a question. That I can guarantee. The representative explained how easy it was to transfer over my account. He filled out the transfer of assets document electronically and emailed it to me for me to sign. The next day I printed out the form and signed it. I called Fidelity to ask about the next steps, and they explained how to send over the form via email. At this point, the transfer had officially begun on March 6. So a mistake I made after starting the process was data going onto my M1 account and transferring out cash that I had sitting there. Since I initiated this cash transfer to my regular bank, it ended up causing the transfer to Fidelity to get delayed by 2 or 3 days. So make sure you don't try to transfer cash in, out, buy or sell stocks while in the middle of transferring to another brokerage. After that had settled, there was also another small setback. If you're using M1 Finance, you probably carry fractional shares. M1 doesn't transfer out any outstanding fractional shares. For example, if you have 10.5 shares of Apple, then only 10 whole shares will be transferred over. The remaining 0.5 or half a share will be liquidated and added to your account balance as cash. Now, I was not aware of this, and M1 doesn't have this information easily accessible on the site. Quite frankly, I was annoyed that they didn't send me an email asking me if I wanted to proceed with this step. They just went ahead and did it. I thought that was very unprofessional of them, and that just goes to show you the difference in having a low quality brokerage like M1 and Robinhood. I guess that's just their way of saying F you for leaving them. If I knew those fractional shares were gonna get sold off, I would have gone ahead and purchased the remaining fractional shares to make those shares whole. But that opportunity was not given to me. Thanks a lot, M1. So here's a picture of my stocks before transferring. So for example, we have AT&T, 80 whole shares, 0.97 shares, which basically means it's almost a whole share. It's just missing 0.3 of a share to become whole. We have Altria with 53.4, which is missing like half a share to become whole. And here's a picture of my stocks while in the process of transferring. As you can see, my fractional shares were sold, only leaving me with whole shares. The sold off fractional shares will then appear as cash, and in the activity section, it will be labeled as dividend payout, which is just a front end display bug, as the M1 representative described it. So this is something to keep in mind. It will cause the transfer to Fidelity to delay 1 or 2 days, which allows the sale of these fractional shares to settle. On the bright side, I now have an extra $990 in cash from the liquidation of those fractional shares. And now I can use that money to buy more shares at a discount with the stock market crash. Now, if you're wondering if you'll get charged a fee, Fidelity doesn't charge to take in your assets, but you will get charged a fee to transfer out of your existing brokerage. In this case, M1 Finance charged me $100, but the awesome thing about Fidelity is that they'll reimburse me that fee because my portfolio has a balance of 25K or higher. So I was very pleased with that. Now, to be honest, I was initially worried about moving over to Fidelity because one of the attractions to these newer platforms like M1 and Robinhood is the friendly user interface. That is what draws in all the new investors, the easy to use system. So I was concerned that Fidelity's platform would be tough to navigate through, but that's not the case at all. I find the platform very easy to use. It feels a lot safer and much sophisticated than M1 Finance. I feel a sense of safety and satisfaction knowing my investments are in much better hands. The Fidelity app is also amazing. I have no complaints there. It is 100 times better than M1's app in my opinion, on so many levels. There's just no competition, none at all. Not to mention, you can call Fidelity anytime you need help, at any time during the day, and it's all free. I mean, do I really have to keep going here, guys? Come on, just make an account and see for yourself. By the way, I am recording this video on March 17. I woke up this morning, I checked the Fidelity app. My stocks have been officially transferred over to Fidelity. I can see my account balance and all of my shares. Now I just have to wait a day or two for all the data like cost averages, gains, losses to post. And I'm just glad that's over with already. If you have any questions regarding the transferring process, leave your questions down below. I'll be happy to answer them. That is all for today's video. If it helped you out in any way, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and by the way, guys, stop buying toilet paper, buy stocks instead, right? I read a quote online. It said, rich people are buying stocks right now. Poor people are buying toilet paper. Don't do that. Stay safe out there. Wash those hands. Keep your distance. Don't breathe on anyone. Practice good hygiene.